Welcome to the Masterbooks podcast, where we bring you conversations that will strengthen your biblical worldview and the faith of your family. I'm Jennifer White, publicist at Masterbooks, a division of New Leaf Publishing Group. As host of this show, I'll be opening the doors to the Masterbooks family library of books, authors, and curriculum. For over 45 years, our company has been about one thing: ink on paper to touch eternity. In a world increasingly at war with God, we are publishing to partner with you to disciple your family, the church, and the nations. Hey, well, hello and welcome to the Masterbooks podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I have a great show planned for you. I've got Kash with us. Kash just recently graduated from high school. He's a Masterbooks student, and he's going to tell us all about his favorite courses, what he has planned, if he feels like the courses prepared him for life. And his mom, Anna, has been on the show before. You may even know her from the Moms of Masterbooks group. Anna is going to talk to us about how she enjoyed teaching high school, what her favorite moments were, and advice that she would give you, the homeschool parent. So thank you both for joining us today. It's going to be a great show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So Kash, we want to start with you. Tell us about your homeschool experience and what were your favorite courses, and do you like being home educated?
Yeah, I really do. I really love being. It's a really great experience. Some of my favorite parts about that is one, that I get off earlier from school than all my other friends do, so I get a little bit more free time in the day, and that I can go at my own pace if I need to, or if I get stuck on a certain a lesson in a day, I can focus on that a little more if I need to, or we can take days off in between. You know, it's a more flexible way of educating.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. So tell us about your favorite courses with Masterbooks.
My two favorite courses were logic and comparative religions.
Okay. Well, I would love to know why they were your favorite. Those are some great courses.
Well, it's really cool because they work hand in hand with each other.
Really?
Yeah, so logic really helps you learn how to argue, by definition, argue, um, and helps you defend the faith. And with comparative religions, you can kind of know what other people believe or the other religions out there and know how to defend your faith against those. An example is I had a coworker who was agnostic, which is he believes that there's some sort of deity out there, but not one specifically, but also believed that Lucifer existed, which contradicts each other. But he also believed that the Bible was a metaphor, which also is contradictory. So it really shows you the flaws in the other religions out there, and that we really, we serve the one true God.
Well, it sounds like it prepared you for your early jobs in life, and it's already given you a chance to defend your faith.
Yeah, absolutely.
So have you been homeschooled your whole school career?
Yep, my entire life I've been homeschooled.
Awesome. Well, we sure are glad you and your family found Masterbooks. Y'all have been an asset to us, and many of you are going to recognize Kash from the Masterbooks and action pictures and even the catalogs. He and his family have been part of the Masterbooks family for a while, and we love it. We love seeing the many different ages in your family learning with the different resources, and really appreciate that you are part of what we're doing. And I always like to remind everybody that our mission statement for over 45 years has been ink on paper to touch eternity. And so it's really cool to hear how Kash has already been faced with the opportunity to impact somebody's eternity, to defend his faith, to stand firm, and to understand who he's talking to, like what that person believes because of those courses that he's taken. So I am very proud of you, Kash. Thank you for holding up the torch of faith for this generation.
Absolutely.
So tell us what you're planning to do after high school.
Well, I'm going to a Bible college in Tennessee. Not entirely sure what I want to do in the long run, career-wise, but we'll see what God has planned for me after Bible college.
I love it. So you're going to a Bible college, and you're already familiar with the area and
Yep.
that scene.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well,
Yes.
we hope that's a terrific experience for you. So Anna, you've been teaching high school for a while now. You've graduated too. We love it. So tell us about your favorite parts of teaching high school.
I have loved seeing my children grow using masterbook courses. Um, Logic was a little over my head as a mom. It was great for this thinker, but it was a little over my head. But it excited me because um, I was able to hear how this course affected him and helped
Mhm.
him defend his faith. And it was really cool to see him putting what he learned into action
Mhm.
when he would come home from work and tell us about the coworkers and how he defended his faith. And oh, I learned about this in the logic course on how to ask these questions and how to defend my faith. And um, it's been really neat to see his faith grow through these courses. I have really enjoyed also the worldview that Masterbooks brings to their high school courses.
Mhm.
Math, I went to public school and math was math. I didn't know the how or the why behind math. He used Algebra 2 this year, which a little over my head, but what I found very interesting was the how and the why
Mhm.
behind Algebra 2 and how we would use it in the real world. And it really fascinated me that God created math and he is a God of order, and that's where the math comes in, and everything has its place. And so to see that and to see it throughout the math course and then to see it being applied, it
Mhm.
really um, it really encouraged me as a mom that I was leading my child down the right path.
I love that. I love that you can see how your child's already applying what they're learning, and also you yourself just learning through what they're learning and witnessing something so different. I love that. You've done a lot of different courses for your high school students. Tell us which ones were your favorites to teach.
I really liked all of them. The science courses were a lot of fun because they were
Mhm.
hands-on and just I like science and seeing God's handiwork through science and to prove creation and to prove God. That
Mhm.
was a lot of fun. I think I really liked writing strands because of the reading
Mhm.
weeks. And during the reading weeks, when you analyze a Bible passage and to see my children learning about a Bible passage and the literature analysis that goes with it, it was very encouraging um, to see that and to have my children in the Bible with school. And it wasn't just a verse slapped on a page; it was them in the Bible seeing the different literary devices that we use are also in the Bible. For instance, like Proverbs is poetry, and you see, or Psalms is poetry, and you see the metaphors and the similes in there, and they're learning about a metaphor and a simile, but going through Psalms and seeing that figurative language.
Hmm. I love that. And I love that the exposure of the Bible in the different courses just gives you such an appreciation, such a wonder for who God is in the math and in the language, two very different things, but still communicating with God, learning about God, and really letting him be the center of your family and your education at the same time.
Yes.
We loved seeing the pictures of you teaching the biology and the dissections.
Mhm.
And I'm curious, did y'all use any of the Masterbooks Academy courses?
Kash did not. No, he didn't even need them for math, which I was kind of surprised. But yes, we have used the academy courses with biology. I have a daughter who just finished her sophomore year.
Okay.
And so she used biology and she also used Algebra 1. And she had also used Principles of Math 1 and 2 before that. And we did let her do the photography course as well.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I think it's interesting, so many parents who are homeschooling see so many different learning styles and levels of how you learn, levels of intelligence, different things that they're good at in each family. And so I love that you had one student who didn't need those courses, but you had another student who really benefited from them. And even though you didn't feel comfortable with logic, Cash could just do that on his own. I love it. So I think that's probably very encouraging for our listeners. It's encouraging for me.
I also really liked Algebra 2 in the solution manual. It walks you through each step. So even though I wasn't able to teach it and show them how to do it, I was able to see where she came up with the answer in each step that it took. And then I was able to help him understand it.
Perfect.
So growth hacking and being able to adapt and say, hey, on this step, this is where you missed because you wrote this and the answer was that. So that was a huge help as well. And having that tool with the solutions written out step by step, that was, whoever thought that up was a genius.
Well, I'm glad it's there. I love that that course has the solutions manual, and I can see where it would be very helpful. I love that that worked for you guys. So I want to stop for just a second and invite our listeners to review the podcast. I hope you're getting something really wonderful, some wisdom, some nuggets, some encouragement out of today's show, and we would love for you to write a review. We really appreciate you, Jenna, writing a review for us, and I particularly appreciate your encouraging words, and we look forward to reading about what the podcast is doing for you, the listener, because we are here to serve you. We really want you to win at homeschooling, win at life, win at your family, building a family around the foundations of the Lord and his word. And so just let us know, how is that working, and what you'd like to hear on the podcast. We'd love to hear that too. So Cash, we've got a lot of ladies, moms probably, and dads listening, looking at homeschooling high school, and their students doing high school. And high school can be like a little intimidating, maybe to teach, or even to like launch into high school and be kind of thinking about what the next steps are. We would love for you to share your advice. What advice would you give like an 8th grader, a 9th grader who's going to start doing high school soon or doing it now?
My advice would be, if you need to take it slower in a certain area, that I think that's good. It helps you understand it. Different people learn in different ways. I learn really well just reading a book. Some people learn better through videos or hearing it.
Right.
Some people learn better hands-on. Different people learn different ways. So if you need to learn something in a different way, or you need to take a different avenue with it, I think that could be really beneficial.
I agree with you, because I'm a very visual learner. It helps me to read it. I really struggle even at work. If somebody just gives me a verbal instruction, I'm like, oh, please write it down. I need you to write it down so I can read it, because I can kind of memorize it that way. But you're right. Students are different, and I love that you're owning, this is how it works for me. But there's no shame in it working a different way for somebody else. It's just the unique wonderfulness of the way God created individuals, and
Right.
nobody is expected to be just like the next guy or the next girl. So I really appreciate your generosity in that statement. So any other advice you'd give?
I can't think of anything.
Did you get to pick out the courses that you wanted to take, Cash?
I think my junior and senior year I did. Yeah.
Okay. Are you glad about that? Did you make good choices according to you?
As far as I know, I had a lot of fun. I picked a lot of science courses. I really enjoyed science, so I had a lot of credits in science by the time I was done.
Good.
But yeah, I did enjoy picking out my own classes.
Yeah, that's something that other students who aren't home educated couldn't even fathom, getting to choose their own courses and handle school the way you get to handle it, with the flexibility, like you said, spending more time on something, getting through early, taking a few days off.
Right.
I just think it's a beautiful way to live. So Anna, tell us about you. What advice would you give homeschool families that are teaching high school or preparing students to graduate?
I loved teaching my children how to read, my children how to write. I loved those early years when they were eager to learn and learning was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought those were the best years that we would ever have. And we got to high school, and being able to talk to my child similar as what you would speak to an adult as, and to see their growth and to see those foundations that we had established early on and to see that growth. I think the high school years are the best years. It is such a blessing to see the fruit of our labor and to see um, my son just grow in the Lord and grow in his learning. And we always said that we would seek the Lord first with our homeschooling. Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And we really held true to that. We prayed to find a great curriculum right before we found masterbooks, and
Mm-hmm.
principles of math is what brought us to masterbooks
Mm-hmm.
for my oldest daughter. And it was a blessing to see the biblical worldview woven in. And I told my husband, I said, this is the curriculum that God wants us to use. And he said, buy it. Just get what you need. Just buy it. And it's been such a blessing to see God woven in and out of every course. It's a blessing to see the excitement that kids have when they're learning something, even though, like I've said many times, things kind of go over my head as a mom. It still fascinates me when they come to me and say, hey, I learned this in my science book. I learned when I'm going to use this math solution in the world. And these years are the best years. We sit down and we plan, and we have all of these expectations for our kids. And then when they don't meet those, we're disappointed and we feel like we fail. But in Proverbs, it tells us, a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directs his steps. And that is so true. We can um, plan, but in the end, it's God that directs their steps. And enjoy these years and come alongside of them and learn with them. If it's over your head, if you don't understand it, that's okay. There were a couple times when Kash had his head on my bed and said, I don't get this math. And we had we had the solutions manual and the teacher's
Mm-hmm.
guide and the regular book spread out on the bed. And I said, all right, let's learn it together. Let's do this. We can do this. And we did. We learned it together and we figured it out together. And that was a win that we experienced together. And it's such a blessing to be able to have that win, and a blessing to um, be able to do that alongside of your high school child.
I love that. And of course, there are challenges, of course, to expect challenges. This content that you're learning is not easy, but I love that you're seeing your children knowing how they're already going to apply this information in life. And then just the memory of and the unity of learning something together when it's hard and having that win of we did this, we did it together. It was hard, but we persevered, we pressed in, and now we know it. We know how to do it. And it's not always going to be easy, but I love that. I love your advice that, to enjoy it and to look forward to, and just to the benefit of having a child talk to you like an adult, to truly see the fruit of your labor. And you've got different high schoolers. You've got one that's graduated, Kash just graduated, one coming along. And I'm sure you've had different experiences with each one, but isn't that beautiful?
When Cash was younger, I didn't think he could read because he wouldn't read. He hated to read.
Oh,
He would hide the books. He would not read the books that we had. And one day we were sitting at the table and he's reading the cereal ingredients off the box. And these words are this long. And I'm like, how are you reading those? He goes, because I know what it says. I know. So there is fruit, and I know that it's very intimidating for parents as they see high school, and that's the last 4 years, and we have this idea that our kids should be in this box, and they need to have dual enrollment, and they need to graduate with an associate's degree, and they need to have all these things. And then when our kids don't, it's like we feel like we're just big failures. And it's okay if your child doesn't take advanced classes. It's okay if your child doesn't want to read the reader books and likes to read the ingredients off the box. Looking back, hindsight is 2020, and I wish I enjoyed these years longer. I wish I cherished them more, because he's leaving in August and he's going on to a new season. And for so long, we were stuck in this mindset of teach them, teach them, teach them. And now I'm going, wait, where did the years go? I thought we would have this forever. When we started in kindergarten, we never thought that it would take us all the way through high school to graduating high school. And now we're going off to college. That was never a dream of ours. We started homeschooling because someone had suggested it, and we prayed about it and knew that's what God wanted us to do. And now here we are. I'm 15 years later, and he's graduating high school.
I love it. So you don't always begin with the end in mind. Like you're saying, you just started and you just trusted God and you moved forward. And now for us, you've painted this end so that our listeners, our moms and dads of Master Books, can sort of have that end in mind. And I appreciate the fact that you have this experience and this wisdom to share so that other parents can look forward to and cherish these moments, even if they're challenging. And I hope also that what people have heard is that even if the content is intimidating, it's still doable. And even if it's hard, it's worth it to try and try together. And I mean, none of us have like had a plan for life and then wow, here it is. We've got the white picket fence and everything we ever dreamed of. But this life of faith is a beautiful mystery, right? And so you didn't know the outcome of homeschooling when you started it, but now you get to hold up this billboard sign that says it works and it's worked well. And, here's my student who did logic on their own and, algebra on their own. I love that. I love that you have such a success story, and nobody's story is perfect. We're not looking at your story and saying, wow, it must have been all roses, because I'm sure it wasn't. It's a family, it's real, but it's an education. And it sounds like that you have enjoyed learning enough to go on and learn some more, Kash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really have.
I'm glad for that. And I'm glad that you have a firm foundation in your faith because your parents discipled you. And we are thankful to have been a part of that in the courses that we provided for your family. And we really are looking forward to seeing the fruit, the further fruit from here on forward. We'd love to have you come back in a couple of years and just give us more insight in what you feel like helped you prepare for this season that you're about to walk into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show. We love having high schoolers tell us their experiences, and we're so proud of you for graduating and love that we got to be a part of that. And so today I want to just wrap up this fun show and bless you in the name of Jesus with more and more knowledge of the will of God, that you would have wisdom and spiritual insight that would take you through these seasons of homeschooling and parenting and discipling in a way that honors God and that you see the fruit of your labor. So with that, we say goodbye. Thanks for joining us today.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for joining the Master Books podcast. This was fun, and we are really glad you were with us. We invite you to check out masterbooks.com. We have a big library of books that will feed the faith of your family. And hey, Subscribe to our channel so you won't miss an episode. We'll see you next time.